Hi everyone, it's Courtney again. So I've decided to do two kind of series on some basics. So I've decided to do a makeup basics series, just kind of breaking down 1 to 2 steps in the makeup routine, making it kind of nice and slow and talking about what you can do to make each step look the best and be the best, as well as skincare basics. So hopefully that will be useful and interesting. So today we're going to do primer and foundation. As you can see, I have nothing on my face. I've moisturized about 20 or 30 minutes ago. And as I've said before, it's really great to moisturize a good while before you put products on your face to allow them to absorb into the skin, so that when you're putting more products onto your skin, it's not just sitting on top. We want foundation to look like your natural skin and not to look like you're wearing makeup. So the whole goal of everything is really in the magic of application. So you could have a $50 foundation, but if you don't apply it correctly, it won't look good. So I usually apply my primer along with my moisturizer so that I can let it sink in as well. But for the purposes of this video, I'm gonna do the primer now. So what is primer and what does it do? So primer does what it says. It primes the skin for your foundation. So it provides a layer between your moisturizer and your foundation so that your foundation can rest on something. So it can help to fill in your pores, and there's a lot of primers that have a lot of specific functions these days. So there's hydrating primers, there's mattifying ones, there's radiant ones, there's dewy finish, there's all different kinds. And you do not have to spend a lot of money to try out different ones and see what works for you. So you want to see what type of skin you have, and if you're like me, your skin type can change. So I was in the sun a lot yesterday, and so my skin is a little bit drier today. And sometimes my skin can be extremely oily. So you want to just kind of think about how your skin is that day and go with that. So I'm actually going to use 2 different primers today. I'm going to use Cover FX. This is actually a sample I got. It's called Clear Cover Invisible Sunscreen, and it's not exactly a primer, but I like to put on sunscreen, especially before, in the morning before I'm going out for the day, because I do go outside with Ruby, who is actually sitting there behind me. So there's really 3 ways that you can apply primers and products. So number 1 is that you can just press them into the skin with your fingers. Number 2 is that you can use a beauty blender or a sponge to press it in. And number 3 is that you can use a foundation brush such as this. So, and I like to apply products to mostly my problem areas. With the sunscreen, I'm gonna apply it all over my face, of course. So this one I'm just gonna do with my fingers. So I'm just gonna squirt, this one's like a gel, and I'm just gonna rub it all around where the sun can hit me. So especially on my forehead and my neck. And I'm gonna use a different sunscreen for my chest before I go out. So that one has a gel-like feel. It's actually an expensive one, so I just feel really grateful that I have that little sample. Okay, I'm just gonna wipe my hands off on this washcloth. And the primer that I'm gonna use today is L'Oreal Magic Lumi Light Infusing Primer. This one is $12.99, and you can get it at the drugstore. So I'm just gonna give it a shake. And I think I'm actually going to use a coaster, believe it or not. I got this cute little coaster at like Home Goods or something. And I'm just gonna drop some on there. I'm gonna be fancy and I'm gonna use the brush. And I'm gonna apply this mostly right here. I mean, I really don't need priming like in this area or in this area. You know, I have some acne here. This is where my pores get big and my shininess happens. So I'm just really gonna concentrate on pressing the product into the skin in these areas. And this one is, you know, called Lumi, so it's very luminizing, which is great. So I'm just gonna really press and dab it into the skin. So same with foundation, when we get there, you don't want to smear it all around because we're trying to really fill in our pores and fill in to prepare for the makeup. I'm even gonna dab a little around the eyes. Let me just get... And for some people, you don't even need to do foundation if your skin is just looking real good. You could just use a primer, especially one like this that is very illuminating. Luminizing? Illuminating. Luminizing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. And again, you could use a blender to just press it in. So the beauty blenders that I have out in front of me today, this is a great set. It's by Eco Tools and it's their Perfecting, Blender Duo, and it is $9.99. And I believe I got this at CVS, but they have it at Target and Ulta as well. So this one's a little bit firmer and this one is softer. I've wet both of these under the sink and just squeezed them out so they're damp. And they both have this tip so you can get up under the eyes and a big round end so you can boing it all around your face. So like I said, I usually let my primer sit for a little while, but today we're gonna go into foundation. So again, with foundation, you can use a brush. You can use a foundation brush like this one that I had. This one is from Sigma. It's an F60. You can go to Sigma's website and get a big brush set, and they are not very expensive. I also have this one from Tarte, and this is one I use quite a bit. Actually, with the foundation I'm gonna use today, this is Tarte Amazonian Clay Full Coverage. And with this one, and it says on their website to do circular motions, and that's how you apply this one. But I am, of course, going to use my sponge. So, and you know, same with primers. There's a lot of different types of foundations out there these days. There's matte foundations, there's luminous or dewy foundations. You know, you really just want to listen to your skin and know that it can change a lot. Like I said before, primers can really help your foundation to stay on all day and help keep your foundation from getting cakey. So where I tend to get cakey, meaning the foundation tends to accumulate, is in this area and here. And so to prevent that from happening, I try to use a thin layer of foundation to really blend with that sponge. I try to wash my face really well and to exfoliate daily, especially in those areas. Okay, so I kind of like to move the product around in here. You could shake up a bottle. This is my Unique foundation. I'll just shake that one up. But I like to just move it around, make sure everything that's in here is all spread out. And I'm in the color Fairly Light Neutral in this one. So this one's kind of a whipped feeling, so I'm just gonna take some dabs and spread it all over my face, giving me a good bit where I really need it. So I'm ready for the day. Bye. Just kidding. Okay. So I'm gonna take this sponge. And if you're wondering if you have a good sponge, it should really expand when you put it under the water. If it doesn't expand at all and it feels hard as a rock, you may not have a good one, because there's a lot of sponges out there these days. And it should really get bigger. So some people don't like to do this, but I do go around my eye. Having a lot of product around the eye can make it look cakey, especially when you add concealer. I'm going to do a separate video on concealing and highlighting. I'm going to do one on blush and bronzer, and I'm also going to do one on contouring. But some people say if you put foundation around the eye and then your concealer, it's going to get cakey and crepey. But as you guys know, I have a lot of darkness around the eye, so I really like to cover it as best as I can. So we're just going to dab, 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 dab. Really get it all along the nose, up into the hairlines, all along, down into the neck and over into the ear. I've got some hormonal adult acne here, so I'm just gonna add a little bit. Let me just get a little closer for you. I tend to get a lot of redness around my nose and on my cheeks. So you want to blend down into the neck. There's nothing worse when you see a girl with that foundation line. Nothing worse. So really, dot, 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 dot. And I do find that these sponges really do a great job of evenly distributing the product, soaking up excess. Yeah, I mean, it takes a little bit of time, but you know, I'm going a little overboard there. And voila, so I have my makeup set for the day. A little trick you can do to make things last longer is you can take a makeup setting spray. Where is mine? Wow, I'm making a mess over here. Here's a Milani Make It Last setting spray. You could give yourself a spritz at this point, even before you move on to your powder, and do another spritz after your powder. So, I mean, there's no end to the amount of setting spray spritzing that could happen to help things last. So let me know if you liked this breakdown into steps, if you have any questions, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks, bye.